We got this from Fox News. Parents respond to DOJ school board statements. I am what a domestic terrorist looks like. That's the quote. All right. DOJ issued memo after NSBA suggested school boards might be facing domestic terrorism. This is amazing. The DOJ basically came out, Merrick Garland, and said that they're going to be investigating claims of harassment, intimidation, threats, and violence. Even if one of these parents at these school board meetings, all right, hold on. Let me slow down. For those that may be missing the context, parents have been protesting school board meetings because they're demanding the schools either stop masking their kids, change up the curriculum. They're not happy with critical theory, critical race theory, and critical gender theory. So things have been getting intense. Steve Bannon, I'll always shout him out because he was the one who said this to us, and he deserves the credit that the parents would revolt when they saw what was happening to their kids. And boy, was he right. But I didn't expect the federal government to react this way. Let me ask you guys something. If, say, a fight broke out at a bar, do you think the FBI would get involved?
Negative.
No. If like a guy showed up to a golf game and got really angry and started yelling at some other guy and then hit him, literally hit the guy, would the feds get involved?
Wait, is there something resembling a noose involved? Because if there is, then they might show up.
A lot of
yes.
them.
That's true. I mean, it could swarm the place.
The pull rope for the golf cart garage.
A pull rope, of course, yes, yes.
Then the FBI swarms.
Then they're there.
But for the DOJ to come out and be like, claims of local political harassment are now federal jurisdiction, man, did this strike a nerve.
Yeah, and this is extremely political. How else can you say it? I mean, there's been videos that have been going viral with people finally finding out what's really happening in the public schools, or as other people call them, indoctrination centers, and they're livid and they're angry. And I think they have a right to be angry with what's been happening, because they have been using institutions of learning to really indoctrinate people into this subculture that has been pushed as far as an agenda and a narrative. Now, the governor of Florida had a very interesting response to this. He just tweeted, quote, Attorney General Garland is weaponizing the DOJ by using the FBI to pursue concerned parents and silence them through intimidation. Florida will defend the free speech rights of its citizens and will not allow federal agents to squelch dissent. That's what Ron DeSantis just said on his public Twitter account. And I think he's definitely being the front runner and someone who is trying to set himself for the next presidential election.
I dig it. But let's provide some help to all of you who may have heard about critical race theory. I think most people who watch this show probably have a good understanding of what we mean when we talk about critical race theory or critical race applied principles, because we often get corrected by our own audience, the super chats. But there may be someone you want to share this with, and they're saying, I heard on MSNBC there's no critical race theory in these schools, and these parents are freaking out because the Republicans made something up. Let's make it simple for you. Critical race theory, in the literal sense, refers to works by like Derek Bell and Kimberly Crenshaw, literally Kimberly Crenshaw, who wrote a book called Critical Race Theory, where she talks about what it means. And they describe it as the analysis of the intersection of race and the legal system, is a simplified way of putting it. However, critical race theory in practice or praxis, or critical race applied principles, are what people are protesting at schools. All of a sudden, their kids come home and say, Mom, they segregated us by race. And the parents say, why? And they say, I don't know, social justice or something. All of a sudden, we're learning about minority children saying they feel less than. They feel like they aren't good enough, and they're told they can't be with their white classmates. Now, that's crazy. In one school, the principal actually segregated the black students from the white students, creating different classrooms. That's how insane this ideology has become. When parents hear that, they say, naturally, I'm not okay with this. What happens? The propaganda machine of the mainstream media and big tech comes out and says, there is no critical race theory in schools. Critical race theory is legal, scholarly works. That's taught in college. Name one school teaching critical race theory. There's dozens of books. There's probably hundreds of schools because there's hundreds of protests. But they're doing what's called critical race praxis. What does that mean? Instead of telling you, here's what Kimberly Crenshaw and Derek Bell have said, they'll give you a math problem. John is stopped by the police 17 times per year, but Josiah is stopped 493. And they'll show a picture of a white guy and a black guy. And they'll be like, what percent more, or how many times more was, Josiah stopped? They're implementing these ideological narratives and this dogma into the classwork. Parents are freaking out. Now this is where it gets crazy. Harassment? Now I'll tell you this. I started this segment by making this sort of like joke, right? If there was a fight at a bar, would the feds get involved? Okay. let's say there were a handful of bars across the country and people were complaining about them, I don't know, doing something objectionable. Would the feds get involved with local harassment? Is this really the job of the DOJ to be like, I heard that a parent was harassing another parent?
No.
That's crazy.